Cord Meyer. I have never liked violence, never saw any use for it. My whole life, I have seen people going to battle for the mistakes of others, and I never understood what could warrant such hostility. I suppose one could say I grew up as a pacifist. I never fought with the other kids in my neighborhood. My parents never spanked me. As a matter of fact, they raised me in the company of many left-wing political types who deeply influenced my life and my interest in pacifism. I have never raised a hand to my children or my husband. Well, ex-husband. The truth is, I have not been married in quite some time, but that is no fault of my own or my ex-husband's. We loved each other very much. We bonded because he too was a pacifist and didn't believe in violence or aggression. I think he loved my passion. I certainly loved his. We married the year after we met and had our eldest, Quentin, later that fall. We took a bit of a break from making big life decisions after that. I continued to work as an editor for the Atlantic Monthly for some time until our second was born. Michael, our middle child. After that, I stopped working for a while I became accustomed to being a mother of two. I sure missed being in the heat of the action, though, I must admit. I did get to write for the United World Federalist Journal when Cord became their president, which helped keep me sane. That and fraternizing with Cord's political contacts, which of course is what led him to working for the CIA. At first, I was so excited to be married to a CIA agent. But, if I'm being honest, I was also excited to be in the room with the top intelligence agents of the nation. I wanted to be in the know again. I wanted to have big conversations with big people and open huge career doors for myself. I wanted to be the creme de la creme of political journalists. I didn't see it as being selfish, it's just that it was too big of a fish not to reel in. I don't believe a woman will ever be in charge of anything higher than the desk in the front lobby, as deserving as we are of otherwise. So I decided to use what I had as a woman to influence those in power. Call it what you will, charm, seduction, but I believed I was empathetic and smart enough to help people. I only wanted to help. Life was relatively bland for a while. Cord would go to work, I would stay at home with the kids while taking the occasional college course just to keep myself current and relevant. Cord and I eventually had a third boy. Life was perfectly normal. The nights of political party hosting and attending broke up the monotony of everyday life. I would listen to the pontifications of military leaders and CIA agents. I had never had the opportunity to mingle with so many people of different opinions and upbringings. It was thrilling. It was at one of those parties where I met someone truly fascinating and impressionable. Sometimes I regret it. Sometimes I regret the hunger to change the world that boiled inside of me. I suppose in a way I was fighting my own war, the war against war. I had to play the game to win the game, or so I felt. So I went after it, innocently enough at first. How was I supposed to know that he was the way that he was? I didn't know he was also keen on playing games. I suppose that's my own fault. I heard the rumors but didn't believe them. I was so fixated, and if there's one thing you can't tell a woman to do, it's to back off when she sees something that she wants. And I wanted the ear of John F. Kennedy. People tend to take notice when the future president of the United States moves into the adjacent lot. I certainly did. I hit it off with Jackie. When they moved in, we would often enjoy each other's company on walks around the neighborhood. I didn't bring up my worldviews often. Those walks were a chance to turn off the machine and be mundane, which was becoming an increasingly sparser state of being with Cord's new occupation. John was charming enough. He was certainly handsome and well-spoken, but after a while of attending political gatherings with him in the room, I noticed the way he looked at women. He would fixate on any woman who was worth looking at. It was almost as if he absorbed everything a woman said, any woman. I liken his behavior to a predator on the hunt. His eyes would change, and he would study his prey. He would soak up every ounce of information he could about them, what they liked, what they were wearing, what their favorite wine was, what their husbands or boyfriends looked like. He would catalog this information and store it. I assumed it would come in handy later. I mean, no disrespect towards the man, but he was not able to hide his intentions well. Jackie conveyed on several walks that she knew something was going on between John and the new woman of the week. I empathized and listened, but I never had to deal with that from Cord. We loved each other immensely. It wasn't even our fault when we divorced. It was the worst mistake of my life. I wish I hadn't done it. I loved that man. I still do. I didn't know what to do after Michael died. He was so young, only 9 years old. He was playing and a car came around the bend. It was so quick. He was there one moment and gone the next. So sudden. Cord and I were depressed for weeks, and for a time it brought us together. We helped each other explain to our other boys that their brother was not coming home. We helped each other through the funeral and the questions and the reporters and the constant nagging from everyone who wouldn't leave us the hell alone. But after some time, Cord and I drifted apart. I lost myself and I wanted to forget my old life, so we made an amicable decision to separate. It wasn't our fault. I don't know how anyone's marriage could survive the death of a child. Jackie was supportive enough. Her husband, even more so. I suppose that's where the attraction began. He listened to the woes of a grieving mother, and I became dependent on that. He sat there and soaked up every word that came out of my mouth. He sucked it up like a sponge and held on to it for as long as he could. And I fell for it, like every other woman before me had. He was an incessant talker when I got him alone. I never minded, though. I was used to the ramblings of political figures from the years of parties I attended with Cord. This wasn't mingling, however. This was espionage. I chipped away at him, slowly, methodically. A comment here and there about the crime of war, a gentle mention of what pacifism could look like when applied to the current political climate, followed by a bat of the eyelashes or an unassuming glance over the shoulder. It worked, too. I felt like I was getting the most powerful man in the world to listen to reason. He absorbed every word differently than he used to. He wanted real change like I did. And that made me fall harder for him. I'm never going to say I was in love with the man. I think I will only ever love Cord. But it was in that beautifully simple space between childlike puppy love, infatuation, and soulmate-level connection. I liked dating again. I liked getting to sneak around and try that rebellious stage that I never got in my 20s. I liked having little responsibility. I wanted to forget Cord, Michael, mundanity. I got exactly what I wanted. CIA got wind of what John and I were talking about. Politics, war, secrets. I promised John I would never tell anyone what he said, but somehow they knew. They sniffed it out. I think they bugged my phone and followed me home. I often wonder if John ordered it himself. He got a good death. Quick, painless, didn't see it coming, no fear or anxiety. Not everyone gets a death so painless and quick. I didn't. It's not fair. An adulterer gets a quick, fearless death, but I don't. I was a good mother. I was a good wife. I never cheated. I didn't even entertain the idea of cheating on Cord. But the man who has had every woman he laid his pig eyes on gets off easy. I was the epitome of grace and class, and he was the epicenter for venereal diseases. I wish I could have died like him. I got a good look at the fucker's face. I knew who he worked for. I could see it on his face. I screamed. I screamed as loud as I could for someone, anyone, to help me. I wish I had run just a little bit faster. He shot me in the back. Coward. If you're going to condone violence, why the fuck wouldn't you do it with some goddamn dignity? Oh, I can curse God's name because there sure as hell isn't a God where I am. In the middle of fucking nowhere. I laid there dying, wishing I hadn't been so scared. I heard another shot, and the lights went out just for a second. Bright light. Then, I was standing over my body. I thought, this can't be right. I can't be here. I have to go. I looked at the sky, and nothing looked back down at me. They tried to pin my murder on some poor black man that didn't do anything wrong. I didn't even see him on my walk. They just wanted to deny that the fucking feds murdered an innocent woman because her shit-for-brains boyfriend disclosed top-secret information to her. Do they think I gave a fuck about spreading those secrets? I knew what that meant for the country, and I would never betray my country or its people. Better safe than fucking sorry, I guess. My kids, they don't understand what happened to their mommy. Cord didn't understand. I didn't understand. I just wanted to help. I wanted to be in the know again. I dreaded being another boring, stupid housewife. I am smart and thoughtful and kind. I didn't deserve this. I never liked violence. But I got what I wanted. And now I'm stuck.